Welcome back to Psychology Jung. Let's explore what your shadow wants to say today. You can feel it. Even if he says all the right things. You laugh together, sleep beside each other, maybe even talk about forever. But something deep inside you whispers, he's not really here. Not emotionally, not soulfully, not with you. And that ache in your chest, that anxiety in your belly, that numbness during intimacy, it's not just you being sensitive. It's your body telling the truth your mind has been trying to silence. Carl Jung believed the body is the unconscious made visible. So if your body is feeling off, maybe your heart already knows what your mind isn't ready to admit. Let's go deeper. Because this isn't just about him. It's about what you've been trained to ignore inside yourself. You wake up next to him. His body is there, his breath steady. Maybe he wraps an arm around you in his sleep. Maybe he says, "Good morning," and makes you coffee. But deep down, you still feel alone. Not because he's absent, but because you don't feel seen. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." And that's exactly what it feels like, right? You laugh at the same shows. You share dinner, share a bed, maybe even a future. But when your soul reaches out, there's no one truly reaching back. You try to dismiss it. You tell yourself you're asking for too much, that he's a good guy, that no one's perfect. But that ache in your chest, it doesn't lie. It shows up when you share something vulnerable, and he nods, but doesn't feel you. It shows up when you cry in silence, and he doesn't notice. It shows up when intimacy feels more like performance than connection. And worse, you've started wondering if maybe it's your fault. Maybe you're too emotional. Maybe you're hard to love. Maybe you're the one who's disconnected. But here's the truth. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for real presence, and your body knows when it's not there. The tightness in your chest, the fatigue that hits you even after 8 hours of sleep, the way you pull back from touch you once craved. It's not drama, it's data. Your nervous system is telling you, he's here, but not really. So what do you do with that? How do you honor the truth your body carries when your mind wants to hold on to the fantasy? In the next chapter, we'll explore how your body stores the emotional absences you've ignored for too long, and what it's been trying to say all along. Your body always knew, before the fights, before the confusion, even before the moment you questioned whether he truly saw you. Your body had already spoken. It started small. Maybe your stomach tightened every time he brushed something off you cared deeply about. Or maybe your chest felt hollow after a moment that was supposed to be intimate, but left you feeling more alone. At first, you brushed it aside. You told yourself it was stress, hormones. Maybe you just needed sleep. Maybe you were being too much again. But Carl Jung believed that the body is not just a container. It's a language. The unconscious lives in the body, and when the psyche is wounded, the body begins to whisper. And then, scream. Headaches out of nowhere, fatigue that lingers, that tight jaw, clenched every night, the way your skin flinches slightly when he touches you, and you don't even know why. Let me ask you something gently. Have you ever felt tired after being with someone, even if you didn't argue? That's not coincidence. That's your nervous system registering a lack of emotional safety. And your body will always prioritize survival over performance. You don't have to force yourself to explain what feels off. You don't need the perfect words. Your body already said it for you. And yet, as women, we're often taught to override it, to be polite, to stay nice, to smile even when something inside is begging us to pay attention. But the body doesn't lie, and it doesn't wait forever. So if you're feeling exhausted, detached, or low-grade anxious around him, pause for a second. Place a hand on your chest, take a breath and ask yourself, what have I been ignoring? Sometimes the truth isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's cumulative. And it lives in the places you keep trying to push through. In the next chapter, we'll meet the part of you that's been holding the pain for years, the part you've buried just to keep the peace. Sometimes, when you feel invisible in a relationship, it's not just the woman in you who aches. It's the little girl you used to be. She's still there, hiding behind your strength, tugging gently at your heart when someone you love doesn't love you back in the way you need. Carl Jung spoke of the inner child as a symbol of the original, vulnerable self, the core of who we are before the world told us who we had to be. And for many women, this inner child learned early on that love is conditional, that you have to behave, that your needs might be too much, that being quiet, helpful, or selfless was the only way to stay safe. So you grew up. You became responsible, successful, emotionally intelligent. You knew how to take care of others, how to keep the peace, how to smile even when your soul was tired. But the little girl inside, she never stopped waiting for someone to choose her, to stay, to say, you don't have to perform, I see you. And every time you feel abandoned, emotionally or physically, her wound reopens. Maybe that's why a simple, I'm busy from him feels like a punch to the gut. Why his silence after your vulnerability cuts deeper than it should. Because she remembers. She's still there whispering, please don't forget me again. This isn't about blaming him. This is about seeing her. Seeing the moments when you were left to process big feelings alone. When you were told to be strong. When no one asked what you needed. So let me ask you gently. When was the last time you sat with her? Not to fix her, but to listen. You see, this part of you isn't weak. She's sacred. She holds the truth of your emotional life. She knows what you deserve. And maybe the loneliness you feel now isn't just about him. It's the echo of her silence. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how you begin to reconnect, not just with your mind or your goals, but with the deeper self you left behind to survive. At some point, you stop chasing. Not because you gave up on love, but because you finally realized what you were truly longing for. It wasn't him, it was you. Carl Jung believed that what we seek in others is often the disowned part of ourselves. And many women, especially those who've been told to stay small, quiet, or pleasing, have spent years looking for a mirror that reflects their worth. But what if the reflection you've been missing has always been in you? What if that ache wasn't because he couldn't love you right, but because you've been disconnected from your own presence, your own truth? This is where the healing begins, not by demanding more from him, not by proving your worth, but by gently turning toward yourself. Think about the last time you truly sat in silence, not scrolling, not waiting for a message, not planning your next move in the relationship. Just you, your breath, your emotions, your raw self, without a filter. There's something sacred that happens in that space. You begin to remember you're not a problem to be solved. You're a woman to be met by you. Let's pause here. If you were to meet your own soul today, what would you say? What would she need? Not from a man, not from society, but from you? It's okay if you don't have an answer yet. Because reconnecting with yourself isn't a one-time epiphany. It's a daily relationship. It's in the way you stop apologizing for your sensitivity. It's in the way you choose rest instead of productivity. It's in how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. When you begin to honor that inner connection, you stop outsourcing your worth, and from that place of wholeness, you start attracting something very different. Not someone to complete you, but someone who recognizes the woman who's already come home to herself. In our final chapter, We'll explore what it means to live from this space, not as a woman who needs to be loved to feel whole, but as a woman who is whole and chooses to love. There comes a moment when the ache softens, not because he changed, not because he finally gave you what you needed, but because you stopped waiting. You stopped needing someone else to name your worth. You stopped outsourcing safety, love, and belonging, and started building it from the inside out. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And this quiet returning to yourself, is that privilege. You begin to realize you are not hard to love. You were just trying to find love in places that couldn't meet you. You are not too much. You were simply feeling deeply in a world that told you to be less. You are not broken. You were protecting a softness the world never took the time to understand. And now, you're not waiting by the phone. You're not chasing emotional crumbs. You're not shape-shifting to keep someone beside you. You're breathing easier, trusting deeper, loving smarter, because you've made a home inside your own heart, a place where your needs are not too loud, your boundaries are not too inconvenient, your joy is not too much, and your pain is not too scary to sit with. And from here, from this rooted, grounded place, you walk differently. You don't ask, "Will he choose me?" You ask, "Do I feel at peace when I'm with him?" You don't fear being alone, because you've realized you were never truly alone. You just weren't fully with yourself. That's the rebirth, not becoming someone new, but coming home to the woman you were before you were told to be anything else. Now, let me ask you something gently. Has your body ever known the truth before your mind was ready to accept it? If this video resonated with you, drop it in the comments so I know you're walking this path too. And if you're still finding your way back to yourself, just know you are not behind. You are right on time.